What's going on, everybody? It's Shai here, the commissioner of the NBC, and I am joined by...
This is Wevalie, the, co-commissioner of the NBC, or the head of creative design.
is what we like to call it. So we decided, I decided, I guess is a better way to say it, that I was wanting to go over games in the NBC since part of the league doesn't upload, and thought it'd be enjoyable to go over replays and discuss our thoughts on how the game went. And yeah, that's kind of about it. This is week one game of the Faded Andy, coach of the Surrey Gliscorchers, versus JJ24, coach of the Salt City Slakings. As you can see on the screen, obviously, JJ brought Landoi, Mega Diancie, Darmanitan, Starmie, Escavalier, and Gudra.
That is Sheer Force Landoi, by the way.
Yes, it is Sheer Force Landoi. And then we have Bronzong, Archeops, Pillowswine, Arcanine, Mega Blastoise, and Florges on Andy's side. So to start this game off, I think Andy gets a good lead. No, he doesn't. Archeops leads versus Mega Diancie, so JJ got the lead matchup right here. Looking at Andy's team, it felt like probably one of the better leads. I don't know. It was a good lead on his part because he ended up getting it right, but I felt like Bronzong was the better lead on Andy's part.
Yeah, but Archeops was kind of the obvious lead there, because that's generally what Archeops' role is.
That is true. So he goes ahead and switches out into Bronzong, which is straight up this counter to Mega Diancie. Also, I felt like JJ probably just wanted to get the Mega off on Mega Diancie as soon as possible, just because it's nice to get that magic bounce into play. He goes in Mega Evolves. I think he just clicks Toxic, which this is immune to. Not quite sure why he clicked Toxic there. As you'll see later, he doesn't have Diamond Storm on this, so I guess that's probably why.
Yeah, the Bronzong was kind of the obvious play there, but
JJ just didn't want to overpredict, I guess, at the beginning of this game. So he goes in,
understandable,
switches hard into Darmanitan, as I think Bronzong sets up, or goes for a Toxic. And here is where Andy didn't expect the set that JJ brought, and where he switches his Blastoise into Darmanitan. And we find out this Darmanitan is banded, because that just did 75%. That was resisted damage and did 75% to Blastoise.
To be fair, all Darmanitan should be banded, because that's just a fun set.
Yeah, well, according from what Andy told us, he expected Scarf Darmanitan this matchup. I don't quite understand why, because Andy's team wasn't the fastest, and banded Darmanitan just did a lot more work to Andy's team. Like, as you can tell right here, the two things on Andy's team that he has that even come close, or at least on this team that he brought, that come close to outspeeding the Storm is Archeops. Which does, and then Arcanine speed ties with it. So, that does 75%, so that just means Darmanitan can click Flare Blitz again. But he just switches out. Not quite sure why he switched out there. He could have just clicked Flare Blitz and probably picked up a kill. But he goes into Gudra, which is a safe play, as he goes out into Archeops. Not quite sure why that was the Darmanitan switch in. Probably a physically defensive Archeops then.
I think it was because he probably just wanted to sack something there, and Archeops was probably the most, the thing that he could do that with the easiest.
So Gudra gives him in a good position, and he goes straight up for an Ice Beam that does not a lot of damage to the Bronzong. So then Andy, I think, goes for an Earthquake, predicting him to switch into the Darm again, and doesn't get that play right, as he goes for the Dragon Tail. Pushes him into Florges. And again, I think Andy on this play overpredicts, thinking, oh, he's going to go into the Escavalier. Let me go into Arcanine. But then Gudra just clicks Sludge Wave, which... I don't know if going for the Sludge Wave there was necessarily the best play, but it ended up working out for him. Because Andy did overpredict.
Yeah.
And Sludge Wave probably would have done a decent chunk to this.
Mm-hmm.
So
he might have just wanted damage on the Florges
for a later game,
as well.
And then he goes for the Sludge Wave, so he gets 42% off in this, and now Arcanine's in a bad position. So Andy's still on the back foot of this game with overprediction. So Andy at the beginning of this game just having some trouble keeping up right now.
Two of his walls in Arcanine and Blastoise are now in lower health than where they'd want to be, and that's not good for him, especially being behind in the game.
Yeah, he's already behind, and this is already at 52%. So he goes back out into Bronzong as he clicks Draco Meteor. I think he was wanting to pick up the kill on the Arcanine there, thinking he could. And does 25% here. So that he just got some chip damage onto this.
Solid 4 KO.
Yeah, after rocks. No, I'm kidding. Well, actually, yeah, probably after rocks because
Will actually be a 5-hit KO after leftovers, but yeah.
So it goes into Escavalier, and if you look at Andy's team, Mega Blastoise was his switch into Escavalier.
Well, Arcanine, but
That's not going to take a hit from this though. That was the thing is that
Yeah.
Andy's switch in was Blastoise, and that's at 25%.
Yeah.
So Andy switches into Blastoise basically to sack it off at this point, and Escavalier picks up a kill. So so it's now 6-5. Andy is behind still, where JJ's obviously in the lead. He's had the momentum the whole game, and he's had just like I don't know. He's gotten a lot of damage off on everything he's needed so far. So he goes into Arcanine, which is his main, really his only counter to this, unless he has HP Fire on like Florges or something. So he goes into this, and JJ makes a questionable play. He goes hard into Lando and just sacks it here, because this is I think a banded Arcanine, as we find out.
I don't know if it was banded, but it's certainly offensive.
Yeah, it was an offensive one, so that Lando I just died. So this allows JJ to go and Starmie, which means he can Rapid Spin away the rocks if he wants to on a switch out, which I think JJ goes straight for the Rapid Spin. No, he goes for the Scald. He goes for a safe play. Does some solid damage to this. I'm assuming this is Fizz Def Florges because it did a decent amount. Yeah, that's definitely
Rapid Spin.
Now that's definitely Fizz Def. That Rapid Spin did 3% instead of 4.
Yeah.
So he goes for Calm Mind, and he just goes hard into Dianthy. So now here's a play that I didn't quite understand that's coming up. He just switches out. I felt like that was potentially his chance to set up with Florges, because I don't think Mega Dianthy beat it one-on-one.
No. Especially, I guess he didn't know it at this point, but since this Dianthy never went for Diamond Storm.
It doesn't have Diamond Storm, as we'll find out. But no, he just goes out into... Oh, wait, was that a double? Oh, yeah, they both doubled there. I just realized. he doubled Starmie into Dianthy as he doubled into that. But I don't understand why he went for Calm Mind and then doubled there. He doubled into Arcanine, probably predicting Escavalier again, I guess, is probably what happened.
Yeah.
And then Dianthy came in, and that just wasn't good for him. So he goes for a Moonblast. Again, just... I didn't quite understand why he went for a Moonblast there. Maybe... That play didn't make sense to me. He went for Moonblast against Arcanine. I'm sorry about that. He went for Moonblast against Arcanine, which wasn't... I don't know. Every time this Bronzong came in this game, he got to go into Escavalier, but he kind of needed Bronzong for Mega Dianthy, so he kind of had to keep it around.
Yeah. And every time Escavalier came in...
Something's dying.
Yeah.
Every time this monster came in, something dies. Like, his switch into this is Archeops, which then takes 44% from a knockoff, because Archeops isn't bulky. It goes for an Acrobatics that does pretty solid damage since it no longer has an item. He goes for a Megahorn, I think, predicting him to switch out. But then here, he just clicks Roost, hoping that he goes for another Megahorn, but he just clicks Iron Head and kills it. So Escavalier now has 2 kills.
Megahorn wouldn't have actually been that bad because he wouldn't have been Flying type anymore.
That is true. So now, I think Andy goes into Arcanine again because this is his only counter to this Escavalier on his team. He goes into that, and he goes on to Starmie, which he goes for an Extreme Speed. At first I was questioning this, and then I realized that if he went into Darmanitan or he went into Starmie, this was the better play because Flare Blitz would have done recoil and potentially just lowered his only way to check the Escavalier at this point. So now he goes ahead and goes out into this, which is he's shown as his switch into Starmie, as Starmie just clicks Scald again. This goes below half, and he gets a burn, which is kind of unfortunate, but really doesn't end up mattering at all, as we'll see. As he goes for another Scald, as he goes for a Synthesis, trying to keep this healthy, since this is his way to win this game. Even with Darmanitan and stuff being there, he could still win if he can get rid of Darm and kill the Escavalier. And Florges invites in the Escavalier again. And Escavalier, again, every time this comes in this game, it gets to click a button and something's dying. So he goes out into Bronzong, and he realizes at this point that... I don't know why he went for a Toxic there. Probably hoping that he'd go hard into Arcanine, potentially. But he goes for a knockoff. That's a 2-hit KO, and he sets up Rocks, because again, Rocks were really good to wear down that Darmanitan, who will wreck a hole through Andy's team. But this Escavalier now has 3 kills on this game.
3 kills for Escavalier.
So, Escavalier showing at least in JJ's hands, being a monster versus, at least in this matchup as well. JJ didn't, or Andy didn't have a whole lot for Escavalier outside of Arcanine, and I guess he just didn't expect the Escavalier to come, and he felt like Arcanine was going to be enough. But obviously, that was a big failure in prep, I guess. I guess he was hoping Blastoise could also do it, but then
Blastoise... Yeah, but Blastoise was weakened. It was very weakened very early.
Yeah, it took 75% straight away from Darmanitan, from Banded Darmanitan, which does a lot of work to this team. So again, he'll go into Arcanine being his only counter to this, which I will say multiple times through this video because it's literally his only counter. Goes for an extreme speed that doesn't really do any damage to this Diancie, so this allows Diancie to come in, which versus the rest of his team can do a lot of work. Goes straight for an Earth Power, gets crit, which is kind of unfortunate, but the most it'll do is just force an earlier synthesis. He goes for Toxic here, as he Moonblasts. Sorry. I don't know, this end game was kind of interesting. He set up rocks, he goes for synthesis, and basically the game plan from here for JJ is to I guess that wasn't now. Gets Escavalier in again. That's right, that's what happened. Basically, he forced the Florges to go for aromatherapy so he could go into Escavalier again.
For free.
Basically. So now, again, every time this came in, it gets to kill something. So here comes Piloswine, which he'll just click Iron Head this time, and that does a lot of damage to this. But the good thing here, for at least some good thing, he gets to get off a nice 44% on this Escavalier. That means this Escavalier has to switch back in on rocks, and it'll be, I think, around 46% when it comes back in, once the Arcanine comes in. Yeah. But unfortunately for Andy at this point, rocks came up on the field, and that really sucked because now this Arcanine has no more switch-ins in the rest of this game. So now he just gets to go click Starmie, and I think he just gonna die to recoil. And now it comes down to Florges versus 5 Pokemon, one of them being a Banded Darmanitan, which it
Florges versus the world.
It could not take a hit from Darmanitan, and I don't think it can take a hit from the Escavalier anymore either. So, at this point, all JJ needs to do is he needs to just click Escavalier here, but then he just clicks Pain Split, which I did not expect on Stormy. So he gets this thing below half, which is good, but now if he clicks Escavalier, and this thing clicks Moonblast, I'm pretty sure Escavalier ends up getting 2-hit KO'd here. Yeah, so he'll take 12% from rocks, and end up getting 2-hit KO'd. Even after leftovers. So, ends up losing him on. Now, I think comes the Diancie thing, and I felt like a good play on...
this was a good play on
JJ's part. So he goes into Diancie to get off a Toxic, and he goes for a Moonblast. Or no, he goes for Synthesis, trying to stay at full. And this is where the turns of you're staying Toxic, no matter whether you like it or not, come into play, because Diancie will click Moonblast and then click Toxic constantly, as it forces him to kill him. So basically, I think after a while he realizes, oh, I can't keep this thing not toxic, and then he just goes into Banded Darm and wins the game. So JJ wins 3-0, which could have been a 5-0, I felt, if he just went hard into Escavalier instead of letting the Florges go for a Calm Mind.
Yeah, but good turnaround to this season after JJ's last season.
Sorry about that, guys. I really do apologize for that if you guys can hear that. If not, then it doesn't matter. So yeah, JJ would, I think, 0-12 last season, so a lot better season to start off. He gets
so already starting out off with a win against the playoff team from last season.
Yeah,
does really well for his standings. And I didn't like that as much because JJ's in my division this season.
So. But good on JJ. He got to pick up his first win of the NBC or of his NBC career. So yeah.
And good luck JJ against me next week.
Yeah. See you guys.